Hello and welcome to another episode of the Woodsman Whack-Off, the series that never makes you frown because our logs are big and round. In today's episode, we are comparing a stock Husqvarna 359 to a ported 359. Some saws do better than others with modifications. The 359 comes alive. Our operators of the day are Hot Rod. His idea of grade A beef is Weenie Weenies straight from the can. And Soft Hand Steve. He once took a karate lesson to explore his masculine side. It didn't go well. Now let's get it on. All right. There's Soft Hand Steve saying hi to his mama. And Hot Rod. Hot Rod is running the ported saw that he ported himself personally with some help with the numbers from Matt House. Matt House is known to build some outstanding Husqvarna 3 Series saws. So they're digging into the wood, and we can see right away that ported saw that Hot Rod is running is quite substantially faster than the stocker. It is just having no problem expelling those chips like a mad saw. He's about ready to finish up the cut, while Soft Hand Steve with his stocker is going to be considerably behind. That's why we had to just stop the video for old Hot Rod. He's sitting there just waiting. There we go. Finally, he catches up. Okay. So now here we go for the vice grip. This right here is where we're testing the torque of each saw. And the stocker is stumbling a little bit right off the bat. And both operators are trying to put the perfect amount of pressure to where they are keeping the saw in its torque range, but not actually bog it down. You'll see here soon that old Soft Hand Steve has a hard time. The 359 just isn't capable of expelling the chips fast enough, and gets them hung up in the bar, and it can't pull through it. While Hot Rod there, well, he's already done. That ported 359 that he's running is quite the little zinger. He just walks off. I'm done with this. There's Steve still struggling to get through it. And finally, there it is. Whoo-wee! Talk about getting blown out of the water. But that's what you expect and what you hope for whenever you port a saw. Now let's go to Bodie and see what he has to say about it. Okay, so that's what you hope for, right? Some saws really wake up with a good port job. Others, don't. Notably, the modern Husqvarna 5 Series saws don't do all that well with a port job because they run like a ported saw. And if you look at the numbers, if you're familiar with porting and you get in there and you see what they are like from the factory, they're already running ported numbers. They really are. And they can get away with that because of the auto-tune. The auto-tune runs them lean. They have cat mufflers on there. And so whereas a ported saw might be introducing a lot more fuel and losing a lot of fuel through the exhaust, the 5 Series runs it lean to begin with. It's a stratocharged cylinder, and so it's got extra air coming back in there, and that's doing things like increasing the burn of the fuel and air mixture that's already in the cylinder, and it's also pushing back down into the transfers a little bit to stop any of the charge from coming out too soon. A lot of stuff's going on with the 5 Series Husqvarnas, and all auto-tune type saws for that matter. But the 5 Series specifically tend to run really good numbers right out of the box. And so most people, including myself, have a hard time finding gains, real achievable known gains with the 5 Series when they port them. They just do better with just simply a muffler mod, or, well, that's where most of the gain is in a muffler mod versus the porting. So, like, if you wanted to throw some theoretical numbers at it, if you port a 5 Series, let's say you see 20% increase in power once you have done a muffler mod and ported it. Usually, for most people that are porting a 5 Series and they're just doing things like base gasket delete and some port work, that 20% gain is probably 15% gain from the muffler mod alone. And then the other 5% might have came from your port work. So to port the 5 Series and do it really well, you pretty much have to be able to cut that combustion chamber, cut the squish on it, and so that you can drop that whole cylinder down lower, and you get your gains then through extra compression, which gives you more torque, which allows it to maintain its RPM in bigger wood. So that's typically, now some people have better luck and they do a better job. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to act like it can't be done. I've seen some people port some really nice ones, but it's not just a standard port job at that point. It's quite a bit more in depth, and there's honestly few people out there that do it. So I've yet to go into my 562, but how did we get on this topic? The video is about the 359. The 359, weird, I'm sorry, I just rambled. The 359, contrary to the 5 Series, it responds extremely well to port work. And this one right here also had the benefit of, from the factory, it had a catalytic muffler. So it also responded extremely well to a muffler mod. Now, there's a lot of folks out there that there may be a lot of folks out there that may watch this video or other videos that I did on this 359 where I was just like, meh. I know Doug was like, hey, my 359 runs great. Well, and who I'm talking about is Indiana Doug. If you haven't checked out Indiana Doug's channel at this point, you really should. He's doing, honestly, some really great stuff for the community. He's got a fun Facebook group called Chainsaw Addicts. And I use the word fun specifically because he's really good with memes, and he has some really funny memes, and he is smart in his promotion of certain people, and just staying away from others, staying out of the drama, and yeah, I mean, there you have it. I mean, I like Indiana Doug, and I'll promote him any way I can because he's one of the good ones, But I mean, he said, when I had done a video and I was like, yeah, the 359 is pretty weak in stock form, and well, he was like, hey, mine runs really good, and I was like, well, yours already has a muffler mod, and you've probably got the good carburetor on it as well. These 359s come with 2 or 3 or 4 different carbs. Basically, you had a Zama and you had a Walbro. The Walbro had something funky going on with the diaphragm, and I think the low jet, surely it's the high jet, I don't know. But the point is the Zama carb is the better carb to have. And so if you have a 359 and you have the better carburetor on it, and you do not have the catalytic muffler. How do you know if you've got the catalytic muffler? 2 things. You'll likely have a green fuel cap. I think that you can see it on Soft Hand Steve. In this video, whenever he's running the saw, you see the flywheel side of the saw, and you can probably see that green fuel cap. If you have that, then it's guaranteed that you have a catalytic muffler, unless it's been modified. So, but Doug's 359, while stock, it never had a catalytic muffler on it, as well as the muffler does have a muffler mod done to it. So like if I was to take his stock saw, it would be a lot closer to this ported saw than the one that I am running here. So I just, trying to defend the folks out there that may have a 359 and not understand. They're like, mine runs way better than that one. Something's wrong. You're right, there is something wrong. The the 359 that I have was the, what they call it, the E-something. E-Tech, or E-Tech, I think is what they call it. It probably stands for environmental, but it's got a different carburetor on it, and it has that cat muffler. And so they were really restricted. And so that's why this stocker is really ho-hum. But we changed that, clearly. Hot Rod got in there and did port work and a muffler mod, and whoo, that thing sings now. It runs really, really, really well. I'm very happy with this saw, and I really enjoy it. And thanks again to Matt House for, he didn't really walk me through the project. He just gave me the numbers. Do this. Take 40 thousandths out of the squish band. Did that. Put your numbers here. What are my numbers on that saw? Got my handy dandy little Porter book. All right, so I removed 40 thousandths from the squish. And then, of course, I cut the base to drop the whole cylinder down. And it's got 21 thousandths squish between the top of the piston and the actual bottom of the combustion chamber. So that gives it substantially more compression. The ported numbers are 79.6. I would call that 80 degrees on the intake. Exhaust is at 104, and the transfers open at 118, which is 14 degrees of blowdown. Which is, I think Matt told me it was a mistake. I think it was a lucky mistake. It was a good mistake, but it was a mistake that I went that far on the transfers. I think I was shooting for 16 or 18 degrees of blowdown, and I overshot it. That stuff happens, man. If people act like that doesn't happen, or that, well, you're not a good porter, clearly you've never done it. I mean, clearly you have never, or at least you haven't ported much. At this point, I think I've probably done about, probably 30 or 40 saws, and I'm still quite new to this, but it happens. It is difficult to hit your numbers specifically. And if you're the kind of person that can do that, my suggestion would be that one of two things: you have either been doing it a very long time and you have really great tools to work with, or you are just a really meticulous personality, and you will sit there and spend much more time than someone like me. And good for you. I have no qualms against that. That's fine. Everybody strives to do their best. I'm striving to do my best, and I have gotten great results sometimes. This is case in point. Great results on this one. Whereas other saws, I don't know. Is it all that great? Is it? I don't know. But yeah, this one's a good, fun running saw. But I gotta say, so at Hopper Stock, I brought the 359, and I was expecting it to blow people's minds, right? But I get there and, well, honestly, only a couple people ran it. You know how it is. I mean, it's the truth of the matter is, whenever you go to one of these events, nobody gives a dang about the little saws. Everybody wants to grab the big stuff, you know, and it's understandable. The big stuff is more powerful just as they are, let alone when ported. So people who don't normally get a chance to run a ported saw, if given the choice, here, run this 359, which honestly was, that was like a semi-pro saw, you know, that's not even the 357 XP. So either run this 359 or run this 281 XP. They're going to grab that 281. They want to see what that's all about. That's big CCs and that's big power, and they want that in their life. They don't really care much about a 60 cc saw. Now on the job site, probably 90% of your work can get done with that 60 cc saw and a 20-inch bar. And so on the job site, oh, that thing's a godsend, you know? But at an event, people like their big stuff. I mean, you know, John Arnett, he has a channel called John Arnett's Ways, I believe. And he's fun. I like John. He's a really fun guy, and he gets around in the community. He goes to events, and he's enjoyable. He's a character. So, but like he brought a Steel 084 that I believe was ported by Bellhopper, and it runs really good. But he had like a 42-inch bar on that thing, and people were using it, cutting stuff that big. And, you know, it's all for fun. I totally get it. But, you know, that's a case in point where people will gravitate towards that great big saw because they're out there having fun. It's just a play day, right? And nobody cares about that 359, you know. But I did run. There was another gentleman there. I can't remember your name. I apologize, but there was a lot of people there, and I've got a bad memory whenever it comes to names. Good memory with a face, though. I can pick a face out of a crowd after only seeing it once, 3 years later, or 3 years earlier. Anyways, but he had a 357 XP that had very standard porting, right? No machine work was done on it. I don't think, but I think he definitely said he did not cut the combustion chamber. And so this is something that most porters would be capable of doing. It doesn't require a lathe or anything. He probably just did a base gasket delete and then ported the saw. That saw probably, I mean, I didn't put them head to head, you know, we're just out there playing, but that saw probably ran just as good as my 359 here in this video. Which if that's the case, then whenever I get my 357 together and port it, I'll be cutting the combustion chamber on it, dropping it down, increasing the compression considerably, and with that full circle crank on that, you know, the 357 has a full circle crank, the 359 does not. It's got, and it also has true quad loop transfers, whereas the 359, it's like a pseudo closed port. It is still a closed port, but not exactly. They were aiming for broad power band, lower in the RPM range, whereas the 357, they were aiming specifically for a tighter power band, right? Way up high in the RPM range, so that it would make for a good zingy lemming saw, and it is that very much. So, but I look forward to porting my 357 and comparing it to the 359 that is also ported to see which one comes out on top, and it'll be interesting to see not only which one is better, but which one has a broader RPM range. That's to say, not only is faster, but has a broader RPM range, more usable torque, and things of that nature. So, and like by how much it's faster, right? Is it faster by half a second, or is it faster by 5 seconds? You know, I'm really looking forward to that test. But, you know, it takes time. It takes time. I got the 357 case over there that I needed. A subscriber sent it to me from Canada. You know what? Let me go ahead and find what his name is, because I want to give him a shout out for sure. Yes, Colin. Colin from Canada sent me the crankcases in order to properly fix my 357 and get it going for the channel. Thank you very much, Colin. I am very appreciative. The cases got here yesterday, and I will be diving into that here shortly, pretty soon. And is that it? Oh, sorry for all the drama. I mean, I don't want it, but, you know, something's got to be said. Well, I guess I'll also address, I know that some of you viewers do not like it, right? And that's why I try to make it very clear in the thumbnails and the description when that drama is happening, so that you don't watch it. You know, I mean, I get it. I don't like watching it either. Like, there was a very specific YouTuber that I really liked, but then his videos just became nothing but complaining about everybody. And I was really turned off by that. Did not like that one bit. And so, yeah, I stopped watching his channel. Well, the thing that I can assure you is that drama will only happen whenever I feel like it has to happen. Okay? I'm like, this has to, something, it's gone too far. I have to say something, right? I will also always have the thumbnail or the description of the channel to be a warning, right? If you don't like drama, don't watch this video. Don't watch it. Because I agree, Jake, you were like, this doesn't cast you in a good light. 100% agree with that. I've come out with 2 dramatic videos in the past 2 days, and it sucks. And I don't like it one bit. That is not my style whatsoever. However, I'm also not going to sit back and get taken advantage of and bad-mouthed without saying anything about it. But I promise you I will try to keep it at a minimum. However, I feel like the Iron Horse video, there will be more on that, because I don't think he's going to send my saw back. I don't think he's going to send it back at all. And I want to make it a point to educate everyone out there on this, because there are a lot of people out there that just have no idea. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that some of you know, others don't know, you're not aware of. There's been many situations where people have been taken advantage of by him. And he reached out to me. I rarely ever watch any of his stuff. Early on, I did, because, you know, I was eager to learn and I was soaking up all this information. But very quickly, I was like, I don't know, that's not really my style. And so I moved past that. But he reached out to me like 3 or 4 times. Like, he kept saying he was trying to get a hold of me. I've been trying to get a hold of you. You know, I want to talk. So, all right, cool. So finally we got in touch, and that's how that all started. I did not jump into this and try to ride his coattails. You know, he contacted me, and relationship was formed of whatever level, if there was a relationship there, and it just went that way. This is where we're at now, and just an update. Sent him 2 messages this morning, total silence. So, yeah, there'll be more to come on that. But I'll try and keep it to just like 1 video a week at most, and all of my good stuff will continue. My good stuff, all of my routine stuff will continue, and I will try to make that dramatic series as little as possible while still actually doing something where I am trying to shed a light on what's going on. There you have it. And I wish you all the best, and I wish the best for everyone in life. There's literally no one out there that I am thinking, boy, I hope things go sour for this person. No. Even if it's a sour situation, I want everyone to come out smelling like roses. I really do. But I understand it's not going to happen. There's a difference between being ridiculously hopeful and pragmatic. I am very pragmatic in this situation. I know that someone is going to get burned very badly. And so far, it has been me, and my video's the only recourse I can take. Anyways, long-winded, might cut this all out, but I'll probably put it in there because why not? If you hang in for these BS sessions afterwards, then clearly you like them. So, ta-ta for now.